everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress, and I would love to welcome you guys to a glitch in the Matrix. Oh my gosh, I have the best show for us today. I am so excited. I have a couple of fantastic guys here who are field researchers, boots on the ground, up in New York. Okay, and we're talking Montauk, and you guys may be familiar with the Montauk area camp. It's called Camp Hero, actually, where allegedly there were some very interesting experiments going on back in the day that might have influenced a show called Stranger Things. Okay, and I've got a couple of guys here today that are going to tell us all about what they know up in that area. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about, y'all. So I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of time on my intro today. I do have a website if you guys would like to follow what I do here with all of my shows, any event that I'm going to be at. You can find me over at thecryptidhuntress.com. All of my shows, like I said, are there. I got some cool pictures. I need to put some more pictures up of all the events I've been doing because I've been a busy girl. And I'm having the time of my life, y'all. It's so fun. If you'd like to support what I do have a Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. Shout out to all my Patreon members. I love you guys. And you guys keep me going for sure. Also, I do have a shop that's called War Woman Goods, all jumbled up in one word. That's on Etsy. And that's a great way to support my shows because it's like my little fundraiser. Okay. So, also, I have a giveaway, y'all. And it is a camouflage watch. It's this watch right here. It's one just like it. I know. I bought two watches and I always wear one of these to the woods when I'm doing my research. And I just bought two in case one went out. Actually, I got two, but then I thought, well, I'm just going to give one away to one of my viewers. So go to my Instagram. It's an Instagram giveaway. And shout out to everybody who's already registered for that. All you got to do is tag 3 friends in that post that I put up about the watch giveaway. And I'm going to pick the winner tomorrow night on my show. I'm probably going to have very little to know on my show tomorrow night for my remote viewing show. And I'm going to pick a winner tomorrow night. All those names, everybody who liked my post and tagged 3 of their friends, I'm going to put your name in a pot. We're going to draw it tomorrow night, and somebody's getting that watch with some other Cryptid Huntress merch. I'm going to throw in some stickers and some stuff too. Okay, so shout out to all of you guys that entered that contest. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my two guests today. I have Mike from Long Island Bigfoot. That's on YouTube. You guys, please go subscribe to his YouTube channel and follow him on social media. And I also have Brian of Montauk is Strange. That's another fantastic YouTube channel. And you guys, please go subscribe to both of them. And I'm going to pull up Brian and Mike. Welcome to a glitch in the Matrix, fellas.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, y'all.
I'm excited. This is awesome. Thank you.
Of course. I have. Okay, Mike, you have been in the field so much. Every time I turn on YouTube, you're doing another live.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up with that? Are you having fun?
Yeah. So, I try to keep everyone as included as possible, right? So on a selfish level, I want to use the regular video and like zoom in and get the best footage possible, but at the same time, I want to include everyone and do these like interactive streams and keep everyone as connected as possible, right, from home and wherever else they may be. And so yeah, I try to do premieres or live streams, as much as possible. So
yes. Well, you are you're very active and very passionate about all of this, and I appreciate that. And it's very entertaining as well, because you're really bringing the audience out into the field, and they're experiencing, and we're experiencing, because I'm part of your audience. We're experiencing exactly what you're experiencing, and I think it brings a special touch, and it's important that you're doing that. So please keep up that good work. Okay, and Brian, you as well. So you go out and you do you said every couple of months or so you're going up, particularly the Montauk area. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it started back in like 1994. We would go a lot, like probably 12 times a year in the first couple of years in the 90s. And then, that's where a lot of the old video comes from. And actually, Mike, I was talking to Mike, went to Camp Hero. I made a post, and he said I told him I had this old footage, and I had already put it up here and there, but nobody really noticed. And he said, "Why don't you make a channel?" I'm like, "Yeah, why don't I make a channel?" And then I did, and ever since, now we've gone about 18 times since we started. I just had counted, but overall, it's like I had a big gap in between where I didn't go there, and it was great. Now I'm going more than ever and learning more than ever. And there was no internet when I first started going, so everything was asking people and going to the library to find out any info.
Oh, I remember those days.
I interviewed a lot of people about it. But yeah, so now we go as much as we can. But like Mike said, backstage we were just talking about, getting out there is not always easy. So, as much as possible though, we go out there. And I've gone myself a couple of times, but most of the time I go with Danielle, my wife, and other times we've joined friends. Like I've gone with Mike and DHP, or we had some friends now from Hawaii that we met on YouTube, and we showed them around last October, and now we're friends. They said to come down to Maui, but basically we'll go with anybody who really wants to explore it, but mainly like to go with people that we're comfortable with, of course.
Of course. Yeah. It seems as though this is okay. So for the people watching today in our audience who aren't familiar with Camp Hero and Montauk, I did mention at the beginning of the show that the Montauk project is kind of what Stranger Things, that series, is based off of, with 11 and the mind control, the MK Ultra. Let's see, I think I have some pictures here. So Camp Hero is a decommissioned military base located inside Montauk, thought to have once been a site of graphic, government-sanctioned human experiments comparable to the atrocities committed in the concentration camps during World War II. Okay, but today, I mean, it's like a huge park, right? It's a big park with a lot of land, and kind of explain what it's like today.
It's strange. It goes, well, yeah, but I mean, it literally is, because it goes through phases. And I'm gonna let Mike say too, because he's been a lot recently, and things are changing, in my opinion.
Like, well, it's very odd, right? Like there's not too many parks that are public with off limits areas, right? And like when you go, like, when you go to a public park and they have the pamphlets and the map, like there's one there that has like a pamphlet that teaches you about like unexploded ordnance, and nothing, tells you to stay on trail and be careful and not to go off trail, which I don't know. To me, like, I don't think there's really ordnance out there. I think they just don't want people venturing. I have that right here. They don't really. Yeah, there you go.
Found it before by chance, and it says right there, the unexploded. Let me see.
What?
Right there, unexploded ordnance. So it's like a map, and the first thing they show you, because they used to have guns there for World War II that would fire over the ocean, but they never fired them, only in practice. They never fired them in war, where they built them all. But they must have, there was another anti-aircraft part of the beach, but there's no reason to close the whole park off, like Mike said. Those things were on the shore firing over the ocean, so there's no reason to like block the entire base off and say you can't metal detect there because of this unexploded ordnance and so on. So they said at first in this, I think it says not to use radios or I don't know, it doesn't say phones, but it says radios or some kind of other device, walkie-talkies.
I know, and like you said, Stranger Things might be based off it, like is based off of it, because like it was originally called the Montauk Project, but Duffer Brothers got shut down quick. They got.
I have this.
Yeah, they got hammered for the title, and then they had to change it. They even had to change the location. Yeah. So like a lot of the things you see, like we know what it is and where it is and what they're showing, but like because we've seen Montauk so many times, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they had to kind of switch things around.
Yep.
Well, okay, so some of those experiments that they were doing involved kidnapping. Okay, kidnapping children, homeless people off the streets. Drugs, like psychedelic drug use and things like that. And
I did a whole video on the the LSD rooms at Montauk, where this famous this house that had all these psychedelic wallpapers in the upstairs of one dorm out of 13. And I filmed all the 13. They all have cream colored regular walls, except for this one upstairs. It was the former commander's house. I have all this stuff from the military history. And so we did a video on that room because there's no footage of it left really out there for people to even know about it. So people were mistakenly calling the little bunker house next to the radar, the LSD house, which is not the, They might have done stuff in there too. I mean, who knows? But the point is, yeah, there's proof of all the drug, experiments there, the MK Ultra involvement. That's a definite, but some of the later stuff is hard to prove, like that happened in the 70s and 80s. Because they, in the 60s, they built fallout shelters. And in the 70s, it was like this base on top where it's just lax all of a sudden. It was top security. They were going to build a nuclear missile site there in 66. And these are all from documents and stuff. And then all of a sudden they just didn't care. In the 70s, bands were playing on the weekend. Kids were like riding into the base and playing all day. And I read all these stories, and all the people that work there say, no, nothing was going on. Because I think they took it down underground at that point and used the old fallout shelters that they did not need anymore. In the later Cold War, they started relaxing with that stuff and maybe converted them into laboratory spaces. I mean, if you are going to build underground, you want to start from a point that's already created, because it's much easier and you don't have to start from the top and bring everything in publicly. And like Mike said, they stopped entering from the base. Well, Mike has said this to me before, you didn't say it yet, but they stopped entering. Well,
we all get our different pieces of information, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they even stopped taking kids off the street. And I got inside info too from elsewhere that they were taking unborn children, like pregnant women, taking babies from the psych centers out more west. And these, pregnant women in the psych wards who couldn't defend themselves, and everyone deemed them as crazy already.
Wow.
They were giving birth, and they were telling these women, sadly, hey, your child died at birth, but they were just taking it to Camp Hero.
I never even knew about that either. So
I never really talked about it, but this is one of those places where we talk about controversial things with Jessica, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, please do. Yeah, we talk about it. This is a safe space for us.
Another way people get pulled into the program on a different level is through military families. They actually will like test the kid, and whatever the case, they'll convince the parents that they're going to some kind of program, and the parents sign them off basically, and they don't really realize that they're being taken in. So there may be people that they're after, like in particular, they'll try to get through those methods, rather than just grabbing somebody too. But maybe they can do it both. Maybe they could just grab you if you're a good target. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to discriminate. I'm just saying it was a thing back here in the 80s. There was like all this talk of a white van and milk cartons and everything. And somebody even tried to grab me once, and my mother was on one corner and my grandmother on the other. They let me go. My first day of school was like drawing by the stop sign, and this van came by with the door open. And I thought they were going to run me over as a kid. I was just like, ah. And then they came so close, and I saw the guy in the back. He was standing like in the van, like right there. So my grandmother had seen it. She let her Siberian Husky go and started coming, and they were both yelling. And so the guys took off, and they got the plate, and it was like they called it in. It was like registered to a different car. So I mean, it's common, and we all remember it from the 80s. It's the unfortunate thing is this internet blackout for the news in the 80s all hasn't been scanned in to like the databases online. So you cannot, even when I look for anything in the 80s, like a certain period, it's very hard to find anything, digitized.
Okay. So I didn't know a whole lot about Montauk, but I have been joining up with some of the guys from the Secret Space Program, who were a part of that program, and including James Rink, Daryl James, Tony Rodriguez, and Jimmy Payne. Okay. And Jimmy and I, we're actually potentially, they're planning a trip up there next month and up to Montauk. I might be joining them. We'll see. And if so, I'm going to be hanging out with you guys, hopefully, up there too. And they have memories of that program.
Yeah. Well, Brian, why do we go on the dates we go? Because I don't remember the history of stuff, but why do we go? We're going to be there the same time frame, and we go. Yeah, it's some kind of anniversary too.
Yeah, the biorhythm every 20 years, but the bigger cycle is supposed to connect the year the Philadelphia experiment happened. August 12th is the date of actually it's supposed to be the 12th to the 14th, according to Peter Moon's writings. And, I guess some people just stick with the 12th because that's the day that the base was destroyed. Montauk, Camp Hero Jr. was released, so on and so forth. Whether you think he was manifested or portal was just torn open and he fell through. I mean, something in that it's very similar to something me and Mike look for. Mike more than me, but obviously when I'm with him and all the time now because he's taught me that. But
Yeah.
Well,
basically,
that's why I think that's why our team works so well, is because like I'm out there doing my thing, and then you're like the a historian is an understatement. Like your knowledge and experience in that place is unparalleled. You know what I mean? It's just forget about it.
I know what you mean. It takes more than one person to do anything, and there's, everybody else is good at different things. So combining them all is always a good idea to find out things.
So a quick backstory, Jess. The first year we went, like I didn't know what to expect, and I was there, and like I was being guided. I was guided away from them, and it ends up being by Junior, and I didn't really know. I didn't really know what was going on, but I was kind of guided away from the group, and I'm following it. I'm following it towards the woods, and there's this area of the woods that is just destroyed. I mean, just like it looks like something just trashed it. And sitting right there, like half sticking out of the dirt, is this reel by reel, and which people search up and down, walk up and down this place every day looking for something to find some kind of artifact. So like, this was definitely like guided and aided help to find this thing. And like it took us forever. Brian ended up finally getting it like looked at and taken care of and pulling off what was on it, which was really interesting in itself. But I ended up giving it to them, and as whatever. But it really was like to find a reel by reel that was like dated back to like when Camp Hero was active. We didn't know what we were going to find on there, but it sounds like what it was maybe music that was used, like maybe like for torturing. It was tough for me to hear, like when Brian put it on his channel and like played it. He went through a lot to make that happen, which was really cool.
Wow.
You can talk about
You're
it,
just
bro.
getting that residual energy, probably. It's like a residual energy of that place and the emotions. I mean, some people say that like some of that, like the monster that was, even in Stranger Things, it was made actually, I think Jimmy Payne told us this, that it was actually a manifestation of all the karma that accrued there over the years, which is interesting. And I want to, before we go further, I want to thank everybody, including you, Mike. Thank y'all for the super chats and super stickers. Mike, Dave from Space Out Radio, y'all, and Shade Viking. If I miss, I'll get you in a minute. But thank y'all so much. But that's something that can happen. The manifestation of karma and like all the bad negativity, the negative entities. Yeah, go ahead.
So, sorry guys. But it's funny you say that, because like that, I believe that's how Junior came about, was like Preston Nichols, and the way they talk about it is like he was a monster that destroyed everything. But when I made a brief contact, now mind you, like I'm not like you, Jessica, where like I can like remote view and like really like touch down on things and make like long-term contact. Like I almost get like just from a Sasquatch like something brief, like almost like a knowing or a download, if you will. And it's kind of like on their terms most times. But Junior did like a drive-by with me, and basically it was just like I destroyed everything, but I destroyed all the stuff, the bad stuff that you guys were doing. You know what I mean? He's like, I had a moment of, being destructive, but that's, it wasn't who he was, but he had intentions behind it. He was destroying the project that we were doing to ourselves. You know what I mean?
It's another hero.
It was kind of seeing it from a different aspect. It's like getting, you know what I mean? It's like, it was interesting for me.
I talked with Jimmy Payne about Junior, because he said that he actually experienced Junior and encountered him while he was in that program. And and he told me, he said that I would have really enjoyed Junior, but he said he said if you ever did experience him, you couldn't wear perfume around him. Is what he said. Like he gave me like these little tidbits of information about Junior. He was like, you would have loved him, but you couldn't have worn perfume around him.
Okay. Like such a sensitive scent or something.
Yes,
probably
something like that.
Yeah. It would overload him. Well, I've definitely seen something weird running at Camp Hero. When we first went, a shadow ran, and I've been like obsessed with it ever since. They're like, what do you but they didn't see it. And, my cousin Danielle and my little cousin. But I drew it right away when I got home. And then, so we took an SLS there last time we went, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it was an SLS app that we just got, and we figured let's stop right where that thing ran across the road and put it there, and then wouldn't you know, like exactly, you see something running at the camera. So I was like, that is really weird. I'm going to drive away. But also, there's a free webcam you could always check out at Montauk. It's really cool for anybody who wants to look off the top of the lighthouse. It's got like 5 views. And one day I'm looking and down Turtle Cove, and there's this giant figure, like a being, like 8 feet tall or something, standing on the rock there. And it was like waves were hitting it. It was barely swaying. Waves were hitting it, and it just stayed there for like a half an hour. I took screenshots and stuff because I couldn't record the video. But so I took all the screenshots, and now I check it all the time. I check the rock. There's nothing there ever. And then there's some other similar beings too, like a ghost story that many people back in the day, locals in Montauk, saw a ghost coming down the cliff that had a tiny head and was floating above the ground. Another tall being that was like a shadow. But all 3 of those things could be different, and all 3 of those can be different from Junior, because we don't really know,
Sure.
what's going on there. There's a lot going on besides, the whole everything written about in the books. There's also a lot of ancient history of Montauk, like you were saying about Karma. That was a Native American village at one point. The main village was in town and in other spots in Montauk, but the Fort Knox of Wampum was at Turtle Cove, where they supplied the entire Northeast. It was like the most, and so they had a small place there, and some of the people that worked there lived nearby, right where the radar is. So that's, and they never really, the land was taken illegally in 1911 in Supreme Court in Riverhead, and the tribe was declared extinct because they wanted that land for the military. So there's a lot of, bad, like stuff like that has to be healed from the land. I'm sure that participated in some of the stuff.
And I also, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but I've been studying a lot of, why we're going to these places that have so much high strangeness, especially to like you guys, myself, with my team down here in the South. Where there's a little bit of high strangeness, there's a lot of high strangeness usually. Yes. And the land has a lot of history behind it. Not only are there usually quartz, veins of quartz and things like that are like conductors. There's underground facilities at all these places, I believe. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
There's underground facilities there. Do you guys think that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, he has a deed that says, even the people who live in Montauk near the base, it tells them they don't own what's under the ground. They're not allowed to do anything under the ground. So I think it even goes down, there's tunnels going all the way through the town. Even the Montauk Manor, like if and when you go there, you'll see it, Chesley. And I don't care because I'm just a regular guy. Like I'm not like intuitive or born gifted, and I can feel the draw, like the magnetic pull of the energy out there, and like it's so overwhelming. And then you have that's on this, so this is Long Island, and it turns into like a fishtail. That's what they say. It looks like a big fish. So this is Camp Bureau's on the bottom, and then like right, where before it breaks off, you have like where we live kind of, and as Brookhaven Labs is there, which I think there's something to that because there was said to be a UFO shot down from there into South Haven Park. But on the North Shore too, directly up from Camp Hero is Plum Island, which is a whole bunch of other weird stuff that goes down, which is, and I think they all kind of do their different thing. I have suspicion to believe near me is where they do stuff with the cryptids. I think on the north is where they do stuff with the animals, and on the south is where they've messed with the humans in Camp Hero. Can I prove it? Not yet, but I have my hands in a lot of different things, and it's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the time the answer is right in like the old history again. Like all 3 of those places Mike just mentioned, Plum Island, Brookhaven National Lab, and Montauk, were all 3 coastal defense, sites that got turned into higher science after paperclip. Brookhaven National Labs, they're next to CERN. They work with CERN. They're partners with the top physicists in the world. Then you have Animal Research Center and then Camp Hero. So
it still looks like Fort Upton. It was Fort Upton. It still looks like a base. They have armed people working there. Like machine guns at the door, like at the gates, like. How do you have kids on a tour with guys with machine guns? Like it doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
My sister
Well,
interned there, and she took her
okay.
elevator too far down, and she met guys with machine guns saying, "Go back, you can't come down here." Basically, she
Oh my
just
God.
supposed to bring papers one place to another and messed up.
Do you
But
think that they have an upside down world there? Like on Stranger Things, the movie?
they create the new Big Bang there, so I mean, why not? I mean, they
Yeah.
collide atoms and make new universes all the time. They were doing that for like over a decade or more now, and so a lot of people think that's why the
separator, right?
Mandela effect.
The
Yeah.
atomizer
Yeah,
separators.
yes,
Like I don't really know
exactly.
what
They
any of
smash
this
atoms.
stuff does. Yeah, I don't know what it does really, but it's all this stuff that doesn't have any purpose, you know, other than
This is a picture of it right there. It's a mouse pad. I know a guy that works there that does this stuff. So this is from his house, but see, that's colliding two atoms and making a new Big Bang. See?
Oh, wow.
So the power inside every atom is enough to create, you know, an explosion the size, as you know, a nuclear explosion. So we're made of how many atoms are we made of? Yeah, when they split an atom bomb, they split an atom and bam. So look at all the atoms we're made of. I mean, they say there's not enough energy to time travel, but the human body has enough potential energy to do almost anything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to split our atoms, but you know what I mean? It's there somewhere.
You know, it's interesting that even down here in the South, in Tennessee, there's a place where there's reported hadron colliders down here too, especially down like in Tennessee at the Oak Ridge Labs or whatever.
Yes,
and so much high strangeness. I mean, people getting attacked by packs of wild dogs, mauled to death. We don't think they're actually wild dogs, you know. So
question everything. That's what I say. You know what I mean? Because there's so much that's sitting there right in front of our face, and we're so used to just going about our day. And like, you know what I mean? Like I was telling you earlier, I was going to Montauk with my mother every year for vacation. That's where we did, you know what I mean? And it was like, we didn't have the money to really travel. So we'd go out there and like beach bum it and whatever, you know, and we would go to that the lighthouse every year, whale watching every year. I mean, floating around outside Camp Hero, driving past it, literally climbing the lighthouse, looking over Camp Hero and not knowing it was there. And like, it's like, I mean, and I grew up in the 80s. I was out there during all this crap, and like it's right on. And like Brian mentioned the white van before, and we used to get letters home from school, and we'd put them in our bag and watch out for the white van. It's kidnapping kids, and like I remember all that kind of crap, but never did I piece it together until like a couple of years ago when I linked up with him and DHP and some other guys. Yeah, it just kind of.
What about the show too? Like the Stranger Things show, like that kind of exposed a lot of what was allegedly going on down there. Do you think that was a good thing to expose that?
I still don't think people know it's Montauk. Because they were forced to switch so much around that I don't think a lot of people know. You know, like you would expect an influx of people out there or something. Like it just never happened. I thought when the show came out and was so popular that Montauk was gonna like become like a tourist trap for that reason. That never happened.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show. I think it's a good thing in the end. I thought about that question, you know, like, and they changed and they embellished stuff and they added all the 80s references, but it did help in one way. It brought a lot of people, so that's good and bad. But it actually is good to protect some of the people that are already doing stuff. Now there's just droves of people, even like going to the base. You know, it used to be top, even when it was a park, like Mike was saying, we would get chased around all the time by the park people and sometimes cops and stuff. We even got tickets arrested there, and I got that on the video. So there was like heavy security there and weird choppers flying over. But now it's a park, so you're really just not allowed to go inside the fence by the radar. So for history reasons, I mean, I've talked to the guy that runs the park about history in his office for an hour. So I would say to him, I'm really here just to look at the history. You know, even though we were like trying to talk to whoever's in the radar at this moment. See, all these things are new. I don't understand what in the woods I didn't really notice before. I wanted to say before I met Mike, taught me to look at some of the stuff that I was overlooking right in front of me, you know, in nature, elementals, all kinds of stuff. And the more of the same. It's things coming and going, like dimensional crossover events, I guess, like UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, Bigfoot. I think they all come and go in this from elsewhere. So that's why I kind of look at them all as one big thing. And Montauk has all of those. So it's I think
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's it. I was summing it up.
Yeah, no, so to me it sounds like they've opened a portal there. There's portals open there, multiple portals in my opinion. Now
Yeah.
I've never remote viewed this, okay, but I may or may not be going there soon. I do think that they've opened portals and perhaps that they cause some kind of rip every time they turn on that Hadron Collider too.
Yeah.
Well, his
things
last
come out.
video he posted last night was, "Is there a portal over Camp Hero?" And like,
Yep.
you know, it's funny the things that you're saying
That's
because
funny.
you're like,
That
you
is.
just said something too that we talked about last night before bed. Like you were like, the land has memory, and I told him, I said, bro, I can't tell you why I'm getting this message, but the land is okay with you being there. Like they love you, it respects you. Man has done so much damage out there that this land is not like man, but it respects and likes you there. It's okay with you being there and doing things. So you're getting more than most people are going to get, you know? So like,
Thanks, man.
kind of not push
Appreciate
the
that.
limits, but you know, like push that kind of respect boundary a little bit, you know, because it's
Yeah.
there.
I do love and appreciate the land there. Definitely. That's a place that I love. You know, the things that happen there obviously are why I'm doing it also is in my own way to help is just to try to uncover, you know, and connect things basically for other people do what they want with it. But I have my own personal interest too. I'm really interested in the underground base. That's one of my favorite things. But in the course of that, it's just like almost everything you see there can be, if you go on the right day, or almost every time we go, there's stuff happening. So, but it does seem to be increasing. Like the last few times we went, seems to be constant, like either EVPs or things in the sky. I mean, just things happening that we didn't expect. You go there expecting nothing, and you come home with finding all these things. I think though it might have something to do with if this cycle is actually culminating soon, that maybe things are like building up to that day. Who knows? I just started thinking that maybe a day or two ago because a few people, after a few comments, get a lot of info from people who share too on the channel, which I appreciate for everybody who comments and shares stuff about Montauk. It's amazing the stuff I've learned and the stuff people share with me, like send to me, and it's just so much information coming in. I love it. I keep sending it. I'll take
That's
it
awesome. Okay, Zuni, I've never heard of Iggy. I don't know who Iggy is, but we'll put it on the list of things to remote view. Okay, so thank you for that. Yeah, so okay, so about this radio tower they have there that has that big gigantic antenna on it. Does some people say that thing actually moves sometimes? Would I be wrong with that?
It used to move. It's locked. It's I used to take pictures and document all the different positions every time we went, and I have photos of it in multiple positions. I even took him to the meeting to Preston when he had these he used to have like a talk in Huntington, New York, and we drove up there as kids, and like, you know, we all went, got tickets, and I talked to him twice. I brought my pictures up to him, and because he was saying the radar doesn't move, but then he was like, oh yeah, it does, but it's true that they locked it because the guys at the park said they locked it because it's in freestyle mode usually, but then the wind was destroying it, so now the wind is tearing off the panels, and I took a piece home, but there's panels fall, you know, it's dangerous to stand under there. The wind is just tearing it up.
We may not have pieces, Brian.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have it anymore. But they also left the roof hatch open, which made the stairs in the radar deteriorate. So the third and the fourth and fifth floor stairs are completely gone. So 6 runs of stairs are just missing. You could look all the way up and see the top. So kids like put boards and stuff and used to climb over the boards to get up, but now all that stuff's gone even. So there's really, unless you're like parkour, free runner type of, you know, climber, you can get up there.
I don't care if even if there were stairs to the top, I wouldn't do it. And like, that's what I think is really one of the more amazing parts about like his footage is, before it was a state park, it was like totally like, you know, totally guarded off and fenced and like heavily guarded, and he was sneaking in and with a camcorder. So like some of his early footage in his channel is like them running around as kids, you know what I mean? Like and like ducking down from the cops and stuff. But they go up to the top of the tower, and like I don't know. I'm a little sketchy about heights and stuff in general, but it's really cool stuff.
I never liked going near the edge, that's for sure. I would stay like a good 3 feet back from the edge. My friend is sitting there dangling his legs over I'm just like, man, nah, don't risk it. Because the
No.
wind, I picture a big gust coming and just, there I go.
Yeah, no, I'm
But-
with you guys on that. I don't do
Yeah.
heights very well. I'm not a
agree.
fan.
I'll
Yeah,
climb
it was
stuff, but not
agoraphobia.
Yeah.
Well, and plus, it's not just agoraphobia. It's like it's rickety old buildings and stuff. Like,
It's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
not-
rusty.
Brian, I
It's
think
not-
that's your headphone jacks that keep doing that.
there's a little interference there, a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
think it's his
getting electrified. Yeah,
it's his head. I think it's his
Sure.
headphone jacks.
yeah.
I don't know,
It's
maybe
okay.
unless
Yeah.
unless your
I'll
phone
put
is.
myself for a second, see if you still
There's a
hear.
little feedback.
It just comes. It comes in occasionally. It's not a big deal. It's not
Yeah,
the
it's
end
not
of
a
the
big
world.
deal.
Okay.
We're all good over here. Hey, I had to switch to my cell phone right before the show, so
It's probably these, probably bent them or something.
I always
Yeah.
use my phone. I'm like very technology not capable.
well, neither am I,
you
but
got
you
good
have a good
stuff.
phone. Oh,
Yeah,
and
you
hey,
got
so
some good-
speaking of you having your phone and out in the field and filming all this stuff, Mike, you have actually had contact with Junior, and we have some pictures today. If it's okay, if you'd like to show those.
Oh well, those aren't my pictures of Junior, but
Oh,
yes,
okay.
we could. Yeah, I wish they were. I wish they were. But I used to. So when I started doing the Bigfoot stuff, I was very like, I knew what was going on, obviously, but I was very like hesitant and like I was getting a lot of like negative feedback from all over the other places and other people. So occasionally I would have somebody say, "No, Bigfoot's here," and Brian was one of the people who said, "Yeah, like there's been Bigfoot reports in Montauk like on forever," and I'm like, "Oh, like that's great," and like that was this is one of the photos that were shown to me, or one of the photos. And it's of Junior supposedly at one of the bunkers.
Okay. Well, here,
Oh,
I'm
that's
pulling up
mine.
these-
Yeah, that is mine.
This
Sorry,
one's yours. Okay.
that's mine. But I'm sorry, Jess.
That's so funny.
That is my
That's
picture.
good.
Yes.
Okay, so that's yours. Okay. And it's clearly a head with some glowing eyes right there. Okay. And then we've got this
I don't-
picture.
I don't know
as
what
well.
that is, but while we're talking Montauk monsters, right? I mean, I don't know what I'm looking at, but these things are zoom-ins of the bluffs. I took like 2 or 3 pictures of the bluffs, and then I just started zooming in, and that's definitely a Sasquatch with like a webbed hand, ducked
Yeah.
down behind a rock.
Like this, right?
Oh, it
If
looks
you
like it.
notice, he's actually, or he or she is actually in the water. But what I noticed about its hands is it looks like its hands are kind of more webbed than anything I've ever seen before.
Whoa. I tell you what, there's got to be a lot of weird stuff out of that area. I mean, even coming in and out of portals, y'all. I'm just saying.
That beach is definitely alive, like Mike was saying. Turtle Cove and the bluffs. You can see some really crazy things in the bluffs. When we first went, we didn't expect it, and we looked under a rock. And then later, when I got home, there was a face under the rock, and I put it on the video, zoomed in. I was like, "That is just weird, creepy, weird, man." I didn't see anything.
Well, there was a point where he found an entrance.
Detailed.
He found an entrance somewhere into the bluffs,
Yes.
and then like he brought a bunch of people back to
Yep,
like
Peter
look
Moon,
at it and go,
one
and
of
it was
them.
gone.
Yeah, we
And,
brought Peter Moon to look at it, and it was gone. There was a
Yeah,
and
I
then went back
wasn't gonna
again.
say.
I was mad, so I found it, and there was a big boulder in it, it turns out. So I guess a boulder just rolled down and landed right in the doorway perfectly in the meantime when I was trying to find it. So, but it was a small cave, and I've been searching for these caves my whole life, for like people talking about the caves, the Prohibition caves, and all these things. And me and Mike have talked about, ancient caves there. And there's a lot to that. I was going to do like a ancient Long Island video, and it ties in the geography and the science and stuff actually ties into what we're saying, or at least it backs it up. So I haven't developed it fully, but I do believe that it's an ancient place as well as what happened there.
I do
yeah.
too. Like I don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have. Obviously, I don't have facts on this, but I have a theory that our underground bases and these high strangeness areas and stuff like where we do these projects is like Camp Hero. I don't think that they're like ours, like humans figured it out and they dig these underground. But I think they're like old Anunnaki bases and like stuff like that. And then they like have left, and then we find them and we're like, take them over, put a base on top or a state park on top or whatever, and then we, poke around and prod and see what we can figure out. We meaning our, our federal employed,
Right.
brothers or whatever they're called. I don't know. Big
I mean,
brother.
these are places of power, and places of power. There's something there. I think it's ancient. I totally agree with you, Mike. I feel like the places that they have these underground bases, if you overlay the map of first of all, the missing people across the United States with the national parks and the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, and the Bigfoot sightings, they all correlate. All of them.
Yes. I've definitely seen
There's something to it. There's something more, y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that one thing that's just connecting them all.
I've been saving a lot of stuff for a book I'm never going to write. So, I mean, I'm never going to sit down and write it. So at some point, I'm just going to unleash a lot of stuff.
You should do voice to text, maybe. That would be good.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You should definitely, you should definitely write, both of you guys should definitely write books. Seriously.
I have one like 75% done. I'm just working on all the MLA formatting and the sourcing, because I'm printing stuff that you shouldn't be able to print almost. I feel like some of these things I got, like freedom of information, blueprints for my babies. And then I have a lot of my own personal stuff in there, just the regular editing English. But I'm doing it all myself, so it's taken a long time. And it's already big enough where I have to stop. So, but I want to finish it soon, though, obviously. And I got to get on that. But I stopped at one point. I got like up to about 75% done. So it's got different sections. One's just like the military history, that the deep digging, like stuff people have never mentioned anywhere else. And when you read the whole thing, it kind of lines up with the lore and the legend of everything in that sense. Like speculation, they kind of go together like a gear. It's amazing. And then when you see these gaps, like service,
that's one of the reasons you're so important, Brian, bro, is because you have all the data from years and years and years and years. Bro, I'm telling you, like, you're so much more important than you give yourself credit for. I know you're just a humble guy and whatever, and like, you're like grateful to be part of everything, whatever. But I'm telling you, bro, like, there's nobody who has more than you. Like, nobody.
My goal is to share it all.
In here and on paper too. Like, it's ridiculous. That's why it's so important. We're happy that you're here with us today, because I couldn't have did this without you, bro.
I thank you, man. I appreciate all that, and I do, and I just want to share it really, and I want to share it in the way that I picture. It's like a textbook of Montauk, and it's going to have everything, and also part of it would be like a regular book. I don't know, but the point is, it's supposed to be like an unloading for me, because I have all this stuff, and I sat on it for so many years without doing anything, and the only thing that got me back into it was the History Channel. They called me to go on the Dark Files, and I was like, I don't know, should I? I haven't looked at Montauk in like 10 years. And Danielle, my wife, is like, do it. What are you, crazy? So they flew me to Texas, like on Christmas, like watched it. And then, since then, they've been on a few more, but that one was the main one that got me back research. They actually paid me to do some research too. So it just got me right back into it. And I started amassing more than ever before. Went a little crazy in 2001 when the internet was first growing big. I took everything I could on Montauk, and then I had just put it aside for about 10 years. So I'm glad to return, because I would have been missing out on all this and the worldwide attention on it, which I do thank Stranger Things for.
You took a little break, and then you were arrested for this. So
yeah, exactly.
Everything happens in what I call divine timing, and I think right now is the time. I don't know why I've been called to do so much research and remote viewing on things, even like the Mandela effect and the Hadron Colliders and time travel, time manipulation, Project Pegasus, even Project Highjump, all these different projects, MK Ultra. I mean, I'm trained. I always say this, y'all know, I'm trained in remote viewing, and I think the time is now for us to really bring this out into the open, discuss it. Everything is being exposed. People are being exposed. The darkness is being exposed so that we can heal it. Okay, we need to heal. I think that's why we're here.
Yeah, but especially just for guys like the secret space program who they don't really like have like data and facts to like prove what they know they've been through, and like somebody like yourself is so important in that, and like it validates them and they're what they're going through, and like you that's so huge, like and like
Yeah.
you know like yeah, it's like it's great, like I don't know, I mean hats off to you, really like
Thank
it's
you.
just cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's why the attacks are so dark right now and so harsh, is because it's time to finally like really get into this and talk about it and heal it. And there's a vested interest in not healing, okay, and keeping everything dark. And that's not why I'm here, and that's not why y'all are here. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, people with things that are hidden or dark or whatever, you know what I mean? They could possibly be scared, I guess, of someone who could see into that, right?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to hide from a remote viewer, by the way. Just
Yeah,
saying.
right. That's what I kind of figure.
So,
Yeah, that's what it is. Gotta be. So, anyways.
that's one way.
But you know, they did experiments with remote viewing down there in
Yes,
at
in the
Montauk,
70s.
right?
Yep. Yeah, I believe right after Stanford probably was. Do you think they were the first like research model?
Yes.
Stanford research.
Well,
so probably
I think
in the
so.
year or two after, they probably because it worked out well. So it would be a year or two after maybe. In Montauk,
Okay.
that's my guess. I don't know, but that's one of my like. Sometimes I believe some of the other experiments that people talk about, or who knows, like there may be some that they use to throw us off to cover for some of the lesser experiments. So, like an example, I do believe that time travel is possible, but that's not the point. The point is throwing time travel in there when remote viewing is there makes remote viewing look lesser fantastic than time travel.
Right.
So if you were trying to debunk a story or cover like a red herring type of thing, I don't know. It's just sometimes people have suggested that it might be like a double cover, like to make a fantastical story so that people say, oh, that's just a whole whacked up conspiracy thing. And they write the whole entire thing off, proving that things they've already admitted elsewhere, like remote viewing went on, so on and so forth. So it's just a theory I've heard from people, but I believe they did mostly everything they could that would work, and with a hoping that it would work to develop probably into a weapon. But I believe they try everything they can, basically. So,
they do, and actually, this building, that facility was built during the Cold War, from what I understand, and that is when. Yes, the radar place. And so that is actually when the remote viewing project started with our government, with our military, was during the Cold War because the Russians were using it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that would all make sense.
I've even heard they have their own versions of, Montauk, like a mass mind control type of sense, broadcasting different frequencies of whatever kind you may, microwave, RF. But they also, I've heard that they have their own harp, so there's always a Russian counterpart in all of these stories. And that makes sense because we're in direct competition. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if other nations also were doing it,
Oh, totally.
It's like once somebody finds out, everybody wants to do it. So.
Absolutely. And Scott in the chat, he says, everybody, okay, Super Soldier Talk on YouTube. That's my friend James Rink. Okay. Nice. And I've been doing work with him. We're working on some projects together right now. He's actually listed on my list of friends on my YouTube channel. So you guys can go down on my channel and go, and Super Soldier Talk is right down on the front page of my channel. Y'all go click on that and subscribe. James is awesome. Yeah, y'all do that. And I actually, you might be meeting him next month, you guys, cool. Brian and Mike. Okay, so we might try to. I'll probably try to hook that up.
I've heard about him for years.
Yeah,
I've heard his name for years.
We're right here, but like it's just more of a logistics thing of like getting figured out how like where we're gonna stay, because if you don't have it pinned down, there's no hotels open, like there's not even campgrounds open within like 50 miles, so like it's a pain.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's not, and like we were talking earlier. Yeah, like we were talking earlier, it's not distance, it's just time travel. So like going back home and back and forth. So it's like sitting in traffic nonstop. But regardless, we'll definitely link up. We'll be out there for sure. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to meet those guys. So I'd love to meet them.
Me too.
Oh, thank you, Donna. Donna,
And
it's time to expand, y'all. It is.
Yeah, I haven't heard
we're
their
expanding.
stories, so it'll be all new to me too.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna like it.
But I am familiar with
you're not gonna
space
like their
program.
stories, but I'm just saying it's going to resonate with you is what I meant. Okay.
Yeah, but I have talked to a lot of
tragic.
people that have told me, that they were involved. Like Joe Lafreno, I don't know if any of them are friends with Joe Lafreno, but he worked at the base for many years as a maintenance worker. But he was on some of the shows that I was on, and that's how I met him. But he went into hypnotherapy and hypnotic regression on one of the shows, and he said he was there. He was like one of the kids in Stranger Things, literally. Like he was one of those kids. He was riding his bike. He lives in Montauk. He's always lived there. He'd ride his bike. An older kid used to take him into the base, convince him to go with him, and he would round up the other neighborhood kids, and they'd go there and they'd go underground. And he says he was part of the project. He says he told me a whole bunch of stuff, and he's told the public a bunch of stuff. So I just wondered if any of those guys were in the same circle as him, or like I was saying, there might be other groups of people, survivors too, that don't come talk to everybody. So we may see other people there too that day that might be there for the same reason, and we might never know it.
Well, that might be why we're going. Actually, that might be why the group is going. So we'll talk about it off air. Sure. For sure. I'll tell you more about it, because there's a lot. There's more to it. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. But like I said, the healing needs to take place, and we all need to heal. That land needs to be healed. The people involved need to be healed. The earth needs to be healed. Our environment needs healing. I mean, we just all need to heal, because the vibration of everything is changing right now. Yeah. And so it's just time. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Yeah. Well, are you guys planning on doing some more research up there? I mean, is this constant? I mean, Mike, you're out every day, and you're not in Montauk necessarily, but
no, I'm not in Montauk every day. No, it's I would love to be, but it's a bit of a hike for me. So it's both of us. It really is. But in the winter, it's more of an obtainable thing because it's not a tourist trap. You know what I mean? So it's a lot easier to do a straight shot. But no, right now, probably by the weekend I'll be back in a tent, for the weekend or something. So right now my truck's in the shop, so I'm kind of pinned down for a little bit. But even yesterday, I where I dropped my truck off at, I walked to the woods from there and did a live stream in the morning, and then so I'll where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, you're Long Island, right? So you're just you cover a nice little area right there. And some people will say, like, well, how can there be Bigfoots on Long Island, right? There are Bigfoots on Long Island.
Paranormal caught on cam the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but Mike was on the episode the other day, and it was called.
Mike told me about that.
Yeah, it was called Long Island Bigfoot and More, the episode name, which is cool. But the hosts were convinced as well when they showed that one by the fence. It was a really great shot, but everybody on the show seemed to be like, I mean,
that's the biggest. Yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons I got into this was because it shocked the hell out of me in the beginning, and then I didn't really want to talk about it, and I didn't want to be the guy who had to talk about it. But you know what? Like, somebody had to, and the more I talked about suburban Sasquatch, the more people started to come forward and say, "Yeah, I see mine like here. I see mine here," and they're not supposed to be here either. And that's where I saw mine. But so it kind of like set off this like wave of like, people coming forward and being okay to talk about it. So, hindsight, I'm happy I did it, but it was not an easy journey to get where I'm at now. Now I don't, I'm comfortable. I don't give a damn. You go through a lot of, how it is. You go through a lot of bumps and bruising on the way.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The alligator skin.
Oh yeah. I've got it.
I think I'll make it to Montauk before we go next month. I'm probably going to be preparing for that, just with gear, with money, with cars, and making sure everything goes right for that to get there, But definitely going to make some videos in the meantime too. With sometimes I make like little mini documentaries on one little micro topic of Montauk or something. So I have so many of those planned, not prepared. They take hours, but I have a lot of ideas already waiting in the wings. So I wanted to try. I like to drop the little side hints of parts of the story, the lore, and the history, whatever it might be, anything Montauk. In the meantime, when we can't get out there, like Mike was saying, sometimes cars in the shop or whatever, but that's not going to stop the research or the interest into it. So I'll be checking the webcam from home, off the lighthouse, whatever it may take to
Brian,
do what I need.
did I give you the picture of Junior on the bunker? I never sent that to you.
No, I got
He sent
the
it to
4
me,
pictures
but
of Junior that exist.
Yeah, but I didn't
the one
send it
from
to
the
her.
book.
I don't think.
No, I didn't get it from you either.
No, I don't think I. Quite a second. Jessica? Did I send it to you? 'Cause I know you sent it to me. You did your job, Brian. I don't think I did mine.
I only got those 3 pictures that I showed a while ago. Yeah, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
You can send it after the show. How about that?
Yeah, I know. I feel bad because they're really hard to find, and Brian has them. They're really hard to find.
Yeah, there's the one in the book that everybody knows. Then there's one taken from an aerial flight that's on Google. That shows up, kind of blurry.
I couldn't find them for anything, bro.
The third one that's hard to find is these guys from Brooklyn wrote a photography book, and they came out here to find Junior, and they took pictures, and that's the incredible photos that aren't anywhere else, not on Google, nowhere. It's in Google, but it's a PDF of a book. You know how they show you PDF book previews? It's screenshots out of that, and I took the book's name and everything. But yeah, it was a rare shot of Junior, so I'm going to send them all over to both of you guys again, so you have them on one spot or whatever.
Okay, cool.
That's a cool comment. I like that, Prince Arcane. Bigfoot is country hick and city slick. Why not Islanders? Yeah, they're not seen on too many islands, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I don't know, Long Island.
Yeah,
right.
This island is very misunderstood. There's woods everywhere. I don't know, and then when you ring into it like that, they're not just physical flesh and blood. I mean, it becomes a lot easier to understand for me, at least, but I don't know. I see them, so I don't have to question it, but I get where people are skeptical on it.
Yeah, well,
but it happened. They're everywhere.
One thing
everywhere. That's why even people in England are like, we don't have them here. I'm like, oh yeah, just don't.
Oh yeah, they do.
I'm like, get out of that mindset. It's almost like pixie dust. Like I always tell people, like, if you don't think you're gonna fly, you're not gonna fly. You know what I mean? Like you're already grounding yourself, like in not in a good grounding way. Like flight grounding.
Oh yeah. Hey, somebody in the chat, who is this? 24/7 Dog Man. UK man. He says UK is an island and there are Bigfoot there.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, and Dog Man too, by the way. I've gotten reports of people getting mauled to death and their bodies eaten on after like their car broke down or something, and suspected werewolf or dogman attacks out there. So this stuff is everywhere. And I mean, I even heard people tell, I've encountered people talking about Bigfoots potentially coming through portals in their homes, inside their house.
Yeah. I hold back a lot, I hold back a lot because some of the stuff I deal with, like, I don't think the world's ready for it really. But like you said, I hope there is this big, like, change coming, and, I feel the change coming. I feel that wave, that tidal wave rising. I just, I'm ready for it to, I guess, per se, crash and change, wash away all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's we're going through a birthing process, maybe. I don't know.
I'll take it.
Birthing canal. We're about to come out and be born into like a whole new world, hopefully. But like I said, it absolutely, and just like Enzo. Hey Enzo, I hadn't seen Enzo in a while. Hey Enzo, everybody's feeling the change right now. A lot of us are, and so just keep moving forward, keep talking, keep researching, keep getting out in that field. Don't let anything stop you, okay? Because I'm not stopping. I don't care what gets in front of me in my path. Nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up, right?
Nice.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the haters could keep free advertising if they want.
Enzo, you're funny. Yes.
Yeah, I like him.
We're going to be crowned. That's for sure. Okay. Hopefully. So, Keep it moving. That is so funny. This has been a great show, y'all. Brian
Yeah,
and Mike, I have really enjoyed this. Is there anything else either of y'all would like to talk about today before we wrap it up today?
No, I always feel like I'm all over the place. So I'm glad. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, if you just let me talk, I'd probably just ramble on, bounce around topics for hours. So it's better I would just appreciate you having me as well, and it was awesome to start the conversation of the tip of an iceberg of a giant topic. Man. But it was great to be heard by some other. The algorithm's pretty tough to you in the early stages. So there's people out there that might want to see Montauk stuff that can't find me. So I appreciate every little, because I'm sharing it all and I want people to see it. So some of the stuff I've put my neck on the line for too. So I want to share it all.
That's right. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm going to share all your stuff out, okay? And Mike, yours too. And we're all here to support each other, and just to get the truth out there, and because that's the first step in healing, and that's like my key word of the show today: healing. Okay. Yes. And that's the password. Okay, secret password. Healing. Yeah. But yeah, this has been amazing. I really appreciate both of y'all very much from the bottom of my heart.
Likewise.
Back at you. Thank you.
For sure.
Thanks, Mike, for mentioning me to bring me on too. I mean, it was.
Thank you,
Mike. Appreciate it. To both of you.
No, I'm telling you, he's very quiet and like very humble. But if you guys are watching and you haven't checked him out yet, please do. He's as good as it gets when it comes to this topic.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to thank everybody for being in my chat today, and for all my moderators, and for all the super chats. I think I got them, everybody. Mike, you're one of them. Thank you, Mike. Super sticker. Derek, Dave at Spaced Out Radio. You guys, please check out Dave Scott tonight on Spaced Out Radio, midnight Eastern. He's got a great show over there. I'm a weekend host. Okay, so got to give some advertisement there, and also Shade Viking. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. I hope my moderator got to you guys. And this is amazing. We had a great audience today, y'all. Great audience, and I'm sending all my love to everybody. Y'all, please be sure to register for a chance to win this. It's not this; it's the one like it. The camo watch. It's a men's watch, by the way.
Love camo.
All you gotta do is tag 3 people in the post on my Instagram page where I'm advertising it. I'm gonna pick it tomorrow night on my remote viewing show at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I hope to see y'all there. Okay, Mike, let's start with Mike. You first. Where can people find you online?
Long Island Bigfoot is my channel. That's really it, I guess. I don't really move around too much. That's the best place to find me.
Okay, so that's the best place. All right, Brian, where can people find you?
Same thing. Montauk is Strange is my YouTube channel. That's where you mostly find me. I do have, a Gmail, Montauk is Strange at Gmail. And then if you're sending me some really secure stuff, I have a encrypted email, Montauk is Strange at Proton Mail. And then I have an Instagram. So that's really it too. And where at that, I have not dumped all the pictures I have, but I have thousands. So I will be filling that up. So if it's empty right now, but I'm going to be dumping stuff in there too. As many pics as I can. So yeah, that's it. YouTube is my main place.
So YouTube for both of y'all. All right, you guys. I will be posting links to their shows and I'm gonna have both of you. Mike, I already have you on my YouTube channel. Brian, I'm gonna put you on my Friends of the Cryptid Huntress down at the bottom of my page too. So you guys can just go to my page to go directly to find both of them. If you're having trouble, you're not going to have trouble. You just type it in and it comes up there. Okay, cool. On YouTube. So, okay, guys. Well, thank y'all so much. I'm going to bring both of y'all back here on my channel, and I better see y'all at Spaced Out Radio too. I'd love for y'all to come on there and hang out with me. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful day. Y'all come see me tomorrow night, 8 p.m., and then this weekend on Spaced Out Radio. Mike, you good? Anything else? Yeah. Last words?
No.
Okay.
No,
awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.
You too.